everyone. A big welcome back to the Nick Elston Show, Season 5, Episode 11. If you could sense the relief in my voice then that nothing's going right for me today, tech is stacked against me, and actually that's probably a theme of today's show because this is take 2 of bringing on such a wonderful guest, and I was so determined to bring you the joy that is Jen Hinds that she's come back twice. So Jen Hinds, big round of applause. Woo!
Hello. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me back twice.
Yes, let's do this.
Back once.
We should have kept the outtakes from the last one, actually. It was kind of like one of the old... Is it Norman Collier used to do the voice breaks? Yeah, very comical. We live in interesting times. Isn't that very true?
Absolutely, I'll say.
So, Jen Hinds. So, myself and Jen, our paths first crossed many, many years ago, despite our youthful looks, through the path of floor networking. You may have remembered floor networking from having people like Stephen Thomas and Brad Burton on the show very early in the seasons. And today is another amazing guest that I've met along the way. So that's kind of how our paths crossed. But Jen, tell us all who you are, what you do, and what you're about.
Wow, cool. Okay, you didn't say we had 3 hours, but okay then.
I said you're one of the nicest people that I know, but no one gets 3 hours because my sanity wouldn't last that long in my own company.
None taken. So I am indeed Jen Hinds, always have been. Actually, I was born Jennifer. In fact, I was born Jennifer Louise Hinds. How far do you want me to go back?
Wow. Actually, can I just say that's an interesting thing? I get the Nick and Nicholas thing. If I'm in trouble, I'm Nicholas, especially with my mum. But usually it's Nick. And there's only 2 people ever I've allowed to call me Nicky. And I'll probably open myself up for a load of banter here. There's 2 people, both were kind of aunties of mine, and I let them off because they were amazing people. But yeah, so did you get that as well? You get told off that you're Jennifer, and if you're doing good, you're Jenny?
I was always Jennifer, and then I became Jenny, and now I'm more Jen. But there are still members of my family, kind of second cousins, that refer to me as Jennifer still.
Yeah.
And there are still my godchildren often, actually, or 2 of my godchildren. I've got hundreds. 2 of my godchildren tend to refer to me as Jenny still, and a couple of other people Jenny. But typically now I am Jen. It's just, I think people are lazy, Jennifer. It takes forever to say.
Now, if we get you back for next season, it's going to be just to get a little bit shorter again.
Yeah.
Jennifer, Jenny, Jen,
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Jen.
Yeah, I could be a symbol. That'd be great. I wonder, it'd have to be a rowing boat. Anyway, more about that later.
Oh, we've gone weird already. Okay, sorry, as you were. Tell us what you do.
So I am Jen Hinds. I currently am the co-founder of a company called Always Oarsome, spelled Oarsome, which does, pre-COVID, it did team building days, teaching people how to row and things like that. I'm also managing director and co-owner of One Networking, a relatively new networking organisation spawned from the 4 networking that we've referred to already. So that's me. I also adore rowing.
We will absolutely come on to that as awesome. I should have said not awesome. I got to remember the company I'm in now. But we will definitely come on to kind of what you're about now and what you're up to and the kind of the roots, I guess, of One Networking, because it's certainly a really interesting thing I want to delve into myself. So I guess take us way back, though. Tell us about little Jen and growing up and what's made you the Jen that you are today.
Well, I was born, actually,
you sound like me.
Oh, sorry. I have a terrible habit of mimicking people without
mocking
knowing it.
Bristolian. I was joking. You can mock away.
Gert Lush. Spend a lot of time with. Do you know Matt Richardson?
I do know Matt Richardson. Yeah.
So I learned things like Gert Lush from him. Anyway, we digress.
He'll do that to you.
2 days ago, in fact, it was my birthday, so almost to the day. 53 years ago, I was born.
Oh, happy birthday, by the way. Sorry, happy birthday. I didn't realise that. Big hug.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes, so I was born, I'm from the Northwest, Manchester girl, Manchester last born and bred. I still live in the Northwest, but I say still, that suggests I've never moved away. I have moved away a lot. I did a lot of traveling in my 20s. I lived in France for about 3 years, 3 separate years, I hasten to add. But I lived in France 3 years. I worked in Australia, joined a world round the trip. A world round the trip? Oh my God, a trip round the world even. Rearrange my words and you will get a sentence eventually. And I went to school. Believe it or not, you might not believe it. I went to school, I did my A-levels, I went to uni. No, I didn't. I went to Polytechnic in Sunderland. I graduated from university in Sunderland because it was, in fact, it was the first, Sunderland was the first town to be nominated a city by the Queen. And therefore, the Polytechnic was the first Polytechnic to transition to university. So there we go. You heard that here first, folks, Sunderland.
So what were you like as kind of as a young woman? Kind of, have you always had this kind of passion for kind of helping people and energy, or actually is that something that you developed later in life?
I think in terms of the energy, apparently, I don't recall, as a toddler, I was very outgoing and noisy and confident. Then I went to school and I actually became quite quiet, and I was such a goody two shoes. And I was shy, and certainly in primary school, probably. Then I probably came out of myself a little bit more, but I've always had lots of energy. I just probably perhaps went into myself a little bit as I was growing up in school, but I've always had that energy. I've always loved helping people, but I think a lot of people do. I don't think I'm unique in that by any stretch. I think so. Then as I eventually adulted, the jobs I've done, I've always been happier in jobs that involve interacting with people and being of service, I suppose, to people. So I enjoy doing that. For example, I'm a vice captain of a squad in our rowing club. I am going to force you to talk about rowing, but I keep popping it in every now and again. But I love doing things like that because it's about helping the squad and helping everybody achieve things. So I've always loved doing that, and I think I probably get that from my parents because they've always been people that have helped people and been in roles, I suppose, along those lines. So
yeah, did you come from a big family?
I'm one of 4 children. I'm the youngest. I was a mistake, although my mum would kill me if she heard me say that. She's a very pleasant surprise, is what she calls me. But put it this way, my brother, when I was born, my eldest brother was 11, and I think my next brother would have been 9, and then my sister was 6. And they'd kind of done with kids then. And then, hello, I came along. But let me tell you this, I came along and they got a second dustbin because they had 4 children. So I was worth something.
A young, energetic toddler, Jen Hinds, turn up.
With a dustbin.
Love that. So you left Sunderland Poly / uni. So what were you studying in that time, and kind of going forward from there, what happened after that?
So I first of all, going to uni was something I hadn't planned at all. I did school up until 5th year. It's called something else now, isn't it? But it was 5th year back in the day. That's just pre A-levels, and I wanted to just leave school and get a job. I was done with education. It wasn't inspiring me, so I thought, right, I'll go out and get a job. So I went out and I didn't get the first job I applied for. So I thought, oh, that's not going to work. So I applied to sixth form college and did A-levels instead. And I actually loved sixth form college. So that got me back on side with education. And then I went to university to do, your question was, what I did, wasn't it? So I did business studies. Hang on, the official title was business studies with European business and French. Because I really wanted to hone in on the language thing with France, and I wanted to do years out, and I wanted to do years out in France. So I did that.
And then you said about working abroad 3 separate times in France. How was the experience of being a Brit abroad and working and finding your way?
It was probably different each time. So the first time was straight after A-levels. I thought I knew I wanted to go to uni or poly or whatever to do a degree, but I didn't want to go straight away. So I I got myself a job as an au pair in France. And the first job I got as an au pair was in a small town. It's called Rouen. Not too far from Lyon, but far enough from Lyon for it to be in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I was with a family that weren't particularly, the kids were challenging, shall we say. The mother of the children was challenging. The father was friendly, but I think the mother didn't like him being friendly. So it wasn't the most nurturing family environment for me. And bear in mind, I was just 18 because I'm an end of August birthday, so I was just 18. Hadn't looked after kids before, so they shouldn't have employed me. They really shouldn't. But I wasn't particularly happy in the job, and I was in the middle of nowhere. And I did have a car to use. It was brilliant, 2CV, a really old 2CV one, 2CV car. So that was great, but there was nowhere to go, and so I wasn't happy there. So I didn't last that there very long. I then went to found myself another job as an au pair, but much closer to Lyon, which is an amazing city. There I had two great twin boys to look after, but their mum, you never know who listens to these things, do you? But their mum had their mum's job was, well, I don't need to say everything, but for several nights a week she wasn't there. Anyway, yes, I was going to say more than I probably should. Anyway, she had an interesting occupation, put it this way.
Okay. Yeah.
And I could only guess what her occupation was by some of the things that were in her bedroom. Anyway.
Okay, got you.
So again, in the end, and I didn't fully subscribe to how she treated her sons when she was there. So in the end, I moved away from that as well. I'm so fickle, aren't I? But then I found what I really wanted to do. So I moved into a flat with, I enrolled rather to a university there for foreign people learning French as a foreign language. I got a flat with a Finnish girl, a German girl, an Austrian girl, and a Bolivian girl, and me. So we shared a flat together. The thing we had in common was we spoke French a bit dodgily. And I went to university and I used to teach kids, rather than living in, I used to teach French kids English. That's kind of how I earned my money. And I absolutely loved that. So that's a very long-winded way of finally getting around to answering your question, which I think was, how did you find living in France as a Brit abroad? That was brilliant once I got to Lyon, because Lyon's such a vibrant city. I love the city. Yeah. We were all young, early 20s, well, not even late teens probably. People from all different parts of the world, all there to do the same thing, to learn French, and we had an absolute ball. And it was all first time away from home. That was brilliant. The second time I went to France was part of my degree. That was more structured. I can't actually remember what I did during that. I had we went to university in Toulouse, a few of us, so that was good fun because you were just with students. I then got a kind of more of a proper job based in a place called Compiègne. So that was different again. I lived with a family, but I enjoyed that. And then the final time was to do a ski season. So that was different again. I worked for Crystal Holidays as a ski rep, as a chalet rep rather. So cooking and cleaning for people and skiing every day.
Now, how was that? I mean, I would kind of relate that to my days running pubs and clubs, that you were kind of working through somebody else's social life, which is an interesting mix, shall we say?
Yeah, it was great. I did it because my friend of mine had done it the year before, and she said, "Oh, this is brilliant! You should come and do it." I've never skied at all, but I thought, yeah, that should be great. I went for an interview. She said, "All you need to do in the interview is tell them that you can cook this." So she gave me a menu of a week's worth of things. She said, "Just tell them you can cook that." So I went, and they said, "Have you got your menu plan yet? Can you cook that yet?" I got the job. I'd never really cooked. I'd been a student, so I'd done that amount of cooking before. But yeah, I was in quite a small chalet. I think there was 8 people max wherever there. It was an open plan kitchen, so they could see everything you were doing. But it was great. The vast majority of the punters were really, really nice. I don't think you're allowed to do all the things we could do then, but we used to be able to buy, I think all over the Europe, actually, you get in fact in the UK now, you get these little stubby beers, and you get beers and you could sell them for £1 each in your chalet. So you could have a little bar, so you made a bit of extra cash like that. And some of the guests, even on your day off, they would say, "Oh, come out with us. some of them you'd think, oh God, no, I've had enough of you. But some of them, it was great. They'd take you out for a meal, they'd take you out, get you drunk. So yeah, it was great. It was hard work
Yeah.
because you up early, you're making them, you have to make, hot and cold breakfast. You then have to make them cakes ready for when they come off the slopes. You then have to clean the chalet. You then go on for a ski. Then you come back and have to make them a 3-course meal, and that's 6 days a week. So it was hard work, but it was great fun. And you're with a great group of people doing what you're doing. So
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we first met, you were, because that was back in the day where I knew everybody by Twitter handles, not their actual real names. Marketing by Jen, I think, was yours. But
Marketing Jen, yeah.
Marketing Jen, that's right, yeah. And so you were, what was that gap between kind of chalet dodging and marketing? What was the experience between those times?
So let me think the order of things. So when I came back and it was time to get a proper job, I actually dabbled with teaching. I thought, oh, I could. So I traveled after doing a ski season. I went around the world for 12 months with my friend Kirk, and she came back and she wanted to be a teacher. And I thought, yeah, I could do teaching. I could teach French, which is what she went to do. And I thought that's, it didn't feel like adulting teaching. I know it is, by the way, but at the time I thought, yeah, loads of holidays. So I signed up to do a PGCE, Leeds University, I believe it was. And I lasted about 2 weeks. I got on the course and I just thought, oh, this isn't what I want to be doing. These aren't the people I want to be spending the next 12 months with. So I didn't carry on with that. So then I got my first proper job was a graduate training scheme with Walker's Snack Foods.
Okay.
So that was great because basically, well, initially it was great. I got a Peugeot 405 estate car, and the estate bit was just constantly full of boxes of crisps, and I love crisps. I love food, full stop, but crisps, yeah. So that was my job, driving around. It was retail development representative was the role. I was driving around southwest London to little independent retail outlets, trying to swap out Golden Wonder crisps, which were the absolute, the market leader, with Walker's crisps. So changing, which way around is it? Changing green cheese and onion Golden Wonder for blue cheese and onion Walker. That was my job. So yeah, I did that. I can't remember how long I did it for, but eventually that got a little bit dull because it's literally all it was driving around with and while I loved the perks, which were the crisps and the company car and free petrol.
Yeah.
Great now, right? I then went for a different graduate training thing with an insurance company, independent insurance. It doesn't exist anymore. It went bust because of fraudulent directors, but that's another story. Nothing to do with me. But I stayed there for quite a while, and that was so a graduate training scheme there. It was an insurance company, so you did time in claims, you did time in underwriting, here, there, and everywhere, and then I did time in marketing, and I stayed there then. So marketing became my thing, marketing, communications, and PR. I also did a year out with them as well in France. I went to head up their French office. I didn't head up the office. I headed up the communications and PR in their French office, and got a lovely apartment, fully paid for apartment in Montparnasse for a year. I've forgotten about that yet.
Fantastic. And what was the inspiration to kind of fly solo, or what was the situation that you were in to fly solo, doing your own thing as an entrepreneur, as a self-employed person, marketing?
So I'd always wanted to be my own boss. From being as like school age little, I always wanted to be my own boss. I think I just always didn't really like other people telling me what to do. I like to make my own decisions about things. But the job I had with the insurance company had a great salary, great bonuses. I had a company car with that as well, and it was just too secure, I thought, to just say, give it up, because as you know, as many of us know, it's not easy being self-employed, and everything's down to you. So it was a bit too much of a leap of faith that I didn't have the courage, I suppose, to do it. But then the company did go bust, so we were all made redundant almost overnight. Back in 2001, I was lucky that I think we had a fortnight's notice actually, so I did loads of interviews with other insurance companies. I got offered 2 jobs, which was lovely, but I actually thought, this is the time. It's kind of now or never. If I go and get another great job, great salary, the chances are I'll stay being employed forever.
Mm.
So instead, I got the opportunity to work for someone on a freelance basis. So it was still a little bit like having a job, but I was invoicing them as a freelancer. So it's kind of like an easing my way into it. So I did that for a while, and that was with the guy that used to head up the marketing department of the insurance company. He'd set up an agency in London. So I freelanced for them. And then just little by little, really, I started taking on other clients as well, because I wasn't employed, I was freelancing. So I was earning a bit extra here and a bit extra there. And then it just went from there, really.
Amazing.
Oh, actually, what happened, what really happened to properly flip it, I've kind of forgotten this. I did a random thing and decided I'd start fostering back in 2008. So I decided that I quite like to give that a go. And at the time, I was living back in the Northwest, but commuting to London a couple of days a week. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to carry on doing that if I foster. So do I carry on doing that, or do I do fostering, which I decided I'd like to do? Did do the fostering. So I then stopped doing the commute to London. So that's when I had to build up the proper self-employed bit. I've forgotten that critical part.
Big respect to you. I mean, I think I've mentioned to you before that I come from a family where fostering was crucial. My mum was fostered, and it kind of really saved her. And I've got massive respect for that. So yeah, I doff my cap to you, literally. Well done. That's a great thing. Okay, so we're going to go here, the rowing. You've been baiting me into it. I know this is a huge passion for you. I also know that it's actually something that has not always been something in your life, and it's something that you've kind of really taken on. So tell us about the rowing journey to Always Oarsome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
to me, does that sound normal? It's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
You say it perfectly. So after I started fostering, I created my own business and decided. So marketing was my thing. So starting your own business, marketing yourself, that's going to be dead easy, right? Turns out marketing yourself when you've got zero cash is slightly different from being responsible for someone else's several £1 million marketing budget. So I thought, right, I have to. I am getting around to answering your question, by the way, Nick.
No, it's great. I know you're going to take us on a good journey. So,
well, I'll take you on a journey. I can't promise it to be good, but
Billy Connolly does the same thing, by the way. I do the same thing too. You start somewhere, you go all around the house, and then suddenly you end up back where you should be. So I'm with you on this. Big high five to you on this. I love the style.
Perfect, thank you. Everyone else, go and make yourself a cup of tea. I'll answer the question about.
Don't tell them that. Just carry on listening. Carry on listening.
I have no idea what I was talking about. Oh yes. So marketing your own business is quite a challenge. So I used to go on something called UK Business Forums. May or may not still exist. I have no idea. And it was just basically it's certainly before Facebook was a big thing. In fact, I think it was before Facebook, before LinkedIn and things like that. So that was where you got your online community. So I used to go on there and ask advice, give advice, etc. And I think I must have put something along the lines of, how are you supposed to market yourself? And somebody said, you need to try networking. And then somebody else said, check out this outfit called For Networking, because they're really good. They're here, there, and everywhere. First of all, the word networking filled me with dread because I'd come from the insurance industry. No disrespect to anybody in the insurance industry, but the networking events, and I'm sure it's different now, I'm sure it's all fun and games, but the networking events that I used to go to way back then were not all great fun and games, and they used to fill you with dread. And of course, you were going on behalf of someone else if you went to these things, and it was just, painful. So I thought, oh, God, networking, has it really come to that? Anyway, I Googled For Networking, as I'd been recommended. And as it happened, there was going to be a launch in Runcorn, which is probably about 10 miles down the road from me. Also where they film 2 pints of lager and a pack of crisps or whatever.
Cool.
That was cool.
Nice. Good reference. I like that show. That was really cool.
Yeah. So I booked onto that. I went along, dreading it. there was a guy at the door, totally unprofessional looking, shaved head, tattoos, jeans with a t-shirt. I've come from London corporate networking where I was suited and booted. I think I was probably suited and booted as well on that day. Anyway, he was a nice enough guy. He was like proper Manchester. He welcomed me in, and there was lots of people there. We sat down, had to do a 40-second pitch, and I'd done presenting and training in my corporate role. Well, I was absolutely petrified at the thought of standing up and just being me. Anyway, I did it. And then the guy that was on the welcome desk did what was called a foresight, which is a 10-minute or 20-minute presentation. He had a pizza box in his hand, and he talked about his journey in self-employment. And he absolutely spoke directly to me. It felt like it. All the issues that I was thought was just going to be was just me. All the challenges I had, and he had great solutions for things. I thought, oh my God, this is so motivational, so inspirational. Turns out that guy was a guy called Brad Burton, which by the sounds of it, you've had on this show. And
yeah,
I know
friend of the show, yeah.
Well. And he founded For Networking. I didn't realize until he did that talk. So he founded For Networking back in 2006. This was 2009 that I was there. So it was still quite a young organization, I guess, at that stage. He told me, I told him I couldn't afford to join For Networking, sorry. He told me I couldn't afford not to. And he's very persuasive if you've ever met Brad. So I ended up signing up, not having a clue how I would pay that money, you know, put it on credit card. I just didn't have any money coming in, really. Anyway, he gave me some great tips, which I followed to the T. It turns out I'm quite compliant. But I followed all his advice and ended up making my money back within the first month. So that was great. And I was I'm still in For Networking. That's 12 and a half years ago. Anyway, fast forward to 2014, and I'm nearly getting around to answering your question now. I had a one-to-one.
I'm looking, because I've kind of been there for parts of it. It's kind of really good for me. It's interesting for me to hear this kind of journey, because I can see some of this from the outside when I've met you before.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you were like a hero, in a legend, absolute legend in For Networking. It was like the Nick Elston. And it is one of those things, because we had a forum as well, didn't we, with For Networking?
That's right, yeah.
You were like famous on there and on Twitter. I remember, meeting you in real life. It was like meeting a celebrity, Nick.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Thank you very much, Jen. Cheers.
Perfect.
So are you truly being heard in life and in business? And think about that genuinely. If the answer to that is no, then you've found the right event. If you want to give yourself that boost personally and professionally, come along to Find Your Voice Live. This will change your life. This will be the game changer that you've been looking for.
It provides me with the confidence in myself to prove to myself that I can do it, I can get up on stage, I can speak.
There's absolutely nothing to be nervous about with these events. It's very, very open, very, very relaxed.
Help my confidence go from here at the beginning of the day to here at the end of the day.
Hey everyone, my name is Nick Elston. I'm an inspirational speaker on the lived experience of mental health and a transformational speaking coach. I'm the founder of Forging People, and Find Your Voice Live is our flagship event where we cross the boundaries of personal development, mental health, transformation, and public speaking. Your ability to speak, to deliver any message to any audience with clarity and power and emotion will have an ultimately defining impact on your success by your own definition of that really subjective term. Speaking is life, speaking is business, speaking is education, and that's the thing that we focus on most. What I find is that people are here for many, many different reasons. Some people do absolutely want to be a stage speaker or a professional speaker. Some people want to be able to represent their business or to lead a team or inspire a movement or create a story. But even actually, some people want to be here just because they want to be heard at home. Maybe they don't feel their opinions being heard, that they can't say yes to the things they want to say yes to or no to the things they want to say no to. Again, this is where personal development meets mental health, meets public speaking to create a real positive impact. At the end of Find Your Voice Live, you will walk away with massive confidence around delivering your message. The ability to stand up and deliver means you will enhance your self-esteem in an amazing way. You will also have the skills and tools and tips and techniques to not only deliver a presentation, but to structure a presentation, to find your audience, to be able to deliver emotional storytelling to help your audience feel and make them want to be part of your tribe, make them want to be part of your following, and really tune into what you're truly about, to truly make yourself heard in life and in business. If you're sat on the fence, if you're still not sure, take the model that I use, say yes, worry about it later, and I'll make sure that you're looked after brilliantly. Myself and my team will make sure that you have an amazing day, transformational day that will have the desired positive impact that you want to achieve.
So yeah, fast forward to December, it was 2014. In 4 networking meetings, you have 3 one-to-ones during the meeting. One of those one-to-ones, it was in city centre, Manchester, in one of those, it doesn't exist anymore, but Red Hot Will Buffet, it was called. It was one of those, I love my food, and it had food from all different parts of the world. You could just go and fill as many plates as you want, as many times as you want. I was in heaven, it really was. Anyway, my one-to-one was with a lovely lady called Alex, and we had the normal chat. So where are you from? Oh, I'm from Warrington. And she said, oh, I've just signed up to a random thing in Warrington, a learn to row course. I thought, oh, that sounds cool. Learn to row as an adult when you're not at Oxford or Cambridge and 700 feet tall. And at that period of my life, I used to always try and learn something new every year. So whether it's Spanish, salsa dancing, all kinds of random things. So I thought, maybe rowing could be my thing for 2015. So I got back, sent them an email. I said, I'm probably too old and too unfit for this, but can you send me some more information? And they replied and said, you'll be fine. We get all sorts on our courses. Come along on the 15th, I think it was, of February 2015. So I did. I went along, and literally from the very first day, I was hooked. I thought, oh my God, I love this. I've never been particularly sporty. I've tried tennis, I've tried badminton. I've never found anything that's really stuck, but this was just, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I did the 6-week course. I joined the club immediately. I hated the end of sessions because it meant there was another week before I go to the next one. I ended up helping run the Learn to Row courses. I qualified as a British rowing coach. So I could do the Learn to Row courses as soon as I possibly could. I went from the recreational squad to the competitive squad, and I've been there ever since, and absolutely love it. It's such a big part of my life.
And actually, you've taken that and then a step further by launching the business, the movement, Always Awesome. So you now use that as a team building event. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I don't even know when we first launched that, actually, off the top of my head, but the lady that kind of ran the Learn to Row course when I started, Jill, she and we now run the Learn to Row courses together. But she and I started talking about, isn't rowing's brilliant, because she also thinks it's brilliant. Anybody that rows thinks it's brilliant, actually, because it is brilliant. And we just started talking. More people should know about it. And it's such a great team sport, because you're there as a crew, and literally, and I know that obviously football's a team sport, there's all kinds of team sports, but you have to literally do everything together to make that boat move. So it's in my opinion, not that I'm biased, it's probably the best example of having to work as a team that there possibly is. So anyway, we had all these conversations, and we decided we should set up a company to get people down from companies or organizations to come and learn to row, for both learning about teamwork, for well-being as well, because it's so good. Obviously, it's very good for you physically. You use pretty much every muscle in your body to row. It's upper and lower, but also for mental health, mental well-being. It's just incredible. We often say that once you push away from the landing stage in your boat, whatever else is going on in your life stays there. All your worries, all the stress, because once you're in the boat, all you can think about really is what's going on in the boat. So It ticks the mindful box because you have to think about every single stroke. You're out in nature, you've got connection with other people. It really is, again, might be a little bit biased, but it's so good for mental well-being.
I'm with you. I think there's a reason why I love swimming so much is that anything with water just recharges me. So whether it's just being by the coast or swimming, and this sounds amazing. So you have, like I said, that physical workout, you have the mental workout, but also from a nice kind of fluffy vibe, you've got that kind of water element as well thrown in. And I think there's something in that. Love that. That's pretty cool. So, I mean, I've been out of the networking scene for a long time now, and you mentioned that you're now the MD of One Networking. So One Networking through to Four Networking never existed at the time where I was around. So tell us about the kind of the journey from, I guess, from the end of Four Networking and its old guys to where things are now, because there's been a lot of changes across the board. So yeah, tell us all about it.
Cool. Okay, so you may or may not all remember in March 2020, a tiny little thing called a global pandemic hit us all.
Yes, I think I remember.
It's so weird though, isn't it? I took my mum to a hospital appointment recently, and we have to wear masks in hospital, and I put it on, and I said to my mum, we used to have to wear these all the time. It seems like it's a surreal period of life in many ways. Anyway, so Four Networking ran face-to-face networking events, and we ran 5,000 meetings every year all across the UK. On the 23rd comes to mind. I don't know if it was that date, but sometime one of the days in March, we, along with pretty much every other business that involved human interaction and connection, had to stop. So Four Networking went from a really, really successful networking organization to zero overnight, as many businesses did. So Brad Burton, who we've already spoken about, and the management team at the time wanted to do something about that, really, because it's had thousands of members that still needed to network, probably more so than ever, actually. So I was invited to come onto the management team at that point to help take Four Networking as it was to be fully online. So literally, it was an amazing, probably 48 hours, small team of us woke up together virtually and went to bed together virtually, like at 6 a.m. till midnight, working together to get this off the ground. And the very first week, I think we had 5 online networking meetings every single day happening. We got the teams together that were running these events face to face and said, right, we're doing this online, do it. And we basically created Four Networking, or 4N online then. And it was an amazing experience. I'm so grateful for that, actually, because there's so many people. It was obviously a really tricky time for lots of people, and many people were furloughed and they were at home, and it may have sounded quite great initially, but I know so many people that was driving them crazy, not being able to connect with people, not being able to go out, not having the job to do. I feel so blessed and lucky that I had more work than ever to do. It kept us so busy. It was only virtual, but I was in contact with people throughout the whole day. There were networking meetings to go to, there were teams to trade, and I was just kept busy for so long. We all were. So I feel very, very lucky for that. I think that helped keep my sanity intact, because if I was sat here doing nothing, that would have driven me mad. So we did that, but by being online, it gave us a bit of flexibility. So we didn't just have to be regional. We could have people coming, and we did have people joining us from all over the world, actually, in our networking meetings, which was lovely. We also had themed meetings. So if somebody wanted to do a meeting for people that were into property, people that were into finance, people that like reading books, we did an online meeting for them. And one of the themes that we thought we'd try is do a single seat network. So this was back in July 2020. Yeah, it was July. It was July the first year. And Matt Richardson, who's from your part of the world, he's a networking tart, really. He does all the networks, including single seat networks. So he decided, he thought it would be good. Let's try a 4N single seat. So I got involved with that. We did a 6-week trial where So single seat is basically only one person per sector can be in the group. So we put it out there. Who wants to be part of this? We had loads of people up for it. We picked just one person per seat. It was totally oversubscribed. We just did it. You had to buy 6 meetings and do all the 6 meetings. So we did that. It was brilliant. It was really nice. We kind of got a balance between the fun and friendliness of Fore networking, which it's renowned for, but with the probably slightly more structured approach of being really focused on business, because there was just one person per industry. We had a strapline culture over rules. So we wanted people to help each other, but because they want to, not because we're there bashing them over the head with a stick saying that they had to. So anyway, so that was a 6-week trial. It went really well. So we thought we should do One Networking as its own organisation. So we created that, launching on the 1st of October 2020. I was asked to head it up. It was really weird because cut me in half. I have Fore networking running through my blood because I've been doing Foren for so long. And one of the things I love about Foren is that it isn't single seats, and that you could be one of a few people doing what you do, and collaborations are wonderful. And single seat was really kind of out of my knowledge and comfort zone. But anyway, I'm always up for a challenge, and heading it up, it's like, I suppose it spoke to my ego. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So I did, and alongside Matt, we launched 5 meetings in the first week, and then we've grown and grown and grown, adding more meetings, and it's been going really great ever since.
Are these now in person, or they remain virtual?
They're currently all virtual. It's nothing to stop us going face to face, but our existing members have joined an online network, and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are national. Yeah. So taking them offline would be tricky. So it's something that we think about potentially this autumn, about maybe launching some face-to-face ones, but currently it's fully online. Okay. Some of our groups do meet maybe once a quarter face-to-face. And as an organisation, we have what we call all-inclusive meetings where we meet face-to-face. We did it in Nottingham in June, and we're doing it in Birmingham in October. So that's how One End was born.
Fantastic. And what of Foren? So what's next for Foren? Is that something you are involved in still as a member or as a leader?
So I'm there as a member, but as of the 1st of August, for the first time ever, it's really weird, I'm no longer part of the team there, because Brad Burton took the decision. Brad Burton's been wanting to step aside from his networking stuff for a while, but then things have kept being thrown at us, i.e. pandemics, wars, all kinds of things that have made it be quite unstable. So he's not wanted to leave, if you like. But he did finally make the decision back in July to sell all his shareholdings in One Networking and Fore Networking, and step aside from that and focus on his Brad Burton and speaking business and training business, etc. So he made that decision in July. He offered One Networking to me and offered Fore Networking to Caroline Andrew Johnson. Okay. So as of the 1st of August, we've both taken on the major shareholding of respectively of those 2 companies. So as a result of that, it means that for the first time ever, I'm no longer in a team in Foren. I'm still a member. Wow. I know, it's weird, but I
no really matter where I've seen you, you've always been leading. You've always been kind of influencing and kind of leading from the front, and in the very least, just a cheerleader for the group, for the room. So you'll be doing all that for One End now. I like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I still will for Foren, and it's still an incredible organisation, and it's exciting now that it's under new leadership. So it'll be potentially going in slightly different directions and different dynamic. But I've got such a lot of love for when Brad offered me that it was basically a choice of take it on or walk away, because somebody would have to take on the ownership of it, and there's no way I could walk away. We've created something really special as a team, and the members are I've never met such a positive group of members that love having fun, but we have this thing called the RIO system, referrals, instructions, opportunities, and it's a really lovely mix of fun and focus. So I do love what we've created with One End. So it's super exciting to have. I mean, Terry Cooper, who's the chairman of Foren since whenever, he's still a shareholder of One End and Foren, so he's still very much got that continuous that continuity. But it's exciting times, isn't it? It's exciting times.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's nice that there's a fresh approach coming into it as well. Like I said, and it's I think business networking, as you mentioned, networking generally. When I work in other industries, networking certainly is a lot more. Best way to put it. Maybe there isn't a best way to put it. Networking is something that tends to be a chore. I think that business networking, as we know it, in terms of general business networking, actually is quite divisive, isn't it? It's quite. There's a lot of people that are kind of really repelled by the idea of business networking. Some people really love it. And I think that's where the divide comes, really. People it's like a Marmite kind of thing. People really love it, or they don't really get it at all. They don't really want to be near it. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, it is. I have my accountant. He's been my accountant for, since I started just after I started in business, actually. And I've dragged him along once, actually, for networking, and I think once to online one networking as well, perhaps. And he's one of the ones that hates it. The thought, and I've had two brothers, both of whom have been in business themselves, and one of them actually did come to Foran and joined for 6 months, but then didn't renew. My other would rather eat his own head than go networking, whereas I love it. I mean, there's nothing. I think, as I've already alluded to, networking in my corporate career was so totally different. But this is like getting together with a bunch of mates, but that get you, because we all have friends outside of business, but you have quite a different mindset, quite a different approach to life, and quite a different set of challenges to people that are employed.
Yeah,
and they're both, there's no one better than the other, but I think it's important for both to connect with people that are, they're like-minded people. But I think that's really important, and people just get the different challenges. So it's like turning up with, and now mainly I do it online, but turn up with a bunch of mates, you have such a laugh. I get like a massive injection of energy every single time I attend a one-on-one meeting now, and I leave it thinking, I just absolutely pumped. But business is getting done as well, which is wonderful. So
amazing. So aside from obviously the new venture of, I say new, but newish venture of One N, you have Always Awesome. What's next for you personally? Is there anything that is there a direction you want to go in? Is there something you want to achieve? You've got a kind of a big kind of flashy goal to aim for. What's next for Jen Hinds?
So I have to put a lot of focus currently on One N, because it's literally a month old under my ownership as opposed to just leadership. So we've got lots of exciting plans with that, just to make it more of a, not just networking, but more of a business development tool, if you like, asset for our members. So there's a lot of work going, a lot of focus and energy doing that. Always Awesome. So that kind of had to take a break during the pandemic, which allowed me to put all the effort into the networking side of things. But we very much hope to bring that back. We still do one day a week. So I say we, I think I can't remember if I mentioned, it's myself and my business partner and rowing partner, actually, Jill. She and I coach once a week for a charity called Warrington Youth Rowing, where we get disadvantaged kids take time out of their school day and come and learn how to row. But they don't just learn how to row, they learn how to communicate, they learn how to lead, they learn how to be a team. It's really, really rewarding. That. So we've done that throughout the because it's a part of school curriculum throughout the pandemic as well. So we were already doing that, but we would love to bring more Always Awesome events back for both teams.
Yeah, because rowing virtually will be very, very different. I kind of not sure. I'm a gamer, so like back in the day, like rowing on a computer was like hitting the joystick buttons like very, very hard, very, very quickly to try and get the boat to move faster. Hasn't got the same effect, and it annoys the hell out of you. There's so much anger in that. Rowing, I'm getting a completely different vibe, so it's definitely an impact. I love that. Thank you. I mean, the question I need to ask you before you go, and it's a question I ask everybody that comes on the show, and it will form part of the playlist available at the end of the season, is this. If I'm going to announce you to the stage, now I'm the MC of the O2 Arena in London, 20,000 people have paid their hard-earned money to come and hear you do your thing, your awesome thing. You're kicking back in the green room, sipping a Prosecco. You hear me introduce you. Your walk-on music kicks in. That song that motivates you, that lifts you, that gets you at peak state. Jen Hinds, what would your walk-on music be and why?
Wow, what a question. And totally wasn't prepared for it. I would probably have to say Pharrell Williams Happy, because everything I do, behind everything I do, is my absolute utter passion that everybody has the ability to choose happiness. And I've done so much. I've read up on loads of stuff on positive psychology and happiness framework. I've read books on this and that, and I'm so passionate about helping people learn skills to help them achieve, get above the line. So happy, everything behind everything I do is the kind of concept, if you like, of happiness. So, and it's a great song because it's an upbeat song.
It is. But the problem is you've just thrown up a rabbit hole I want to dive down now before we go. So I'm going to throw in another question now. As somebody who is happy, is kind of exudes happiness and encourages others to be happy, how do you counter toxicity when you have it? And we all get it, whether it be online or in person, whatever that might be. How do you counter toxicity without it affecting your own happiness and well-being?
Probably there's lots of things that I kind of do, lots of tools I suppose I use, or things I do, but the most powerful thing is gratitude. It's the most simple thing, but if I focus, if whether it's toxicity, or it's not easy to say that toxicity, or me just not feeling great, if I focus on gratitude, and that can be as simple as just sitting here looking out of the window. I've not got the best view here, but just being grateful for the fact that first of all, I can see a view, the fact that I can see blue sky, which is amazing, that I can see green trees. I could bang on forever, but gratitude is probably what if anything negative is happening, whether it's coming from other people or whatever, I know that I can control how I'm feeling about it, and that the kind of the best instant quick fix is focusing on gratitude.
And what a great way to finish the show. Jen Hinds, big round of applause. Woo!
Thank you. And
thank you so much for giving up your busy time to be with me. Sorry, you were saying.
I was saying, and a big round of applause to Nick Elston. I was wondering if I could get away with calling you Nikki.
I've started. I've started something now. Anyway, it's going to be called the Nick Elston Show for next week. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed today's show as much as I have. Again, big thanks to Jen for being on the show. Please stay tuned, hit like, subscribe, and all that jazz. You know, I'm not a details guy. Whatever it takes to get you back here next week. And we'll have another amazing guest coming your way. So for now, be well, stay happy, be awesome. Take care, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.